Okay, in this video I'm going to be explaining the different components in the PEX piping system and their functions, how they work, and how they replace other components of like a copper or a brass or galvanized steel system. There's a lot of different ways to do plumbing, and this is one of the newest ones. It started out in like RV construction. They were using PEX piping in RVs, like mass producing them inside of a factory, and it just found its way into general use. So it's really easy to use, fast. You know, most of my clients are surprised how fast I'm done with a job, and it just really works pretty well. If your city code allows it, this will help you understand what some of these pieces and components are. Enjoy, and I hope this helps you out. Okay, so this right here, this is PEX. This is just a tiny piece of it, but this is where all your plumbing can be done. I have PEX running to my sink, and I'm going to be extending out this and this to get them higher up here to not disturb the open space in the cabinet. This is the finished product. PEX is back here, way back here, comes forward, wraps around, this one goes up, loops in, totally cool. And they'll come up and over, hook into the sink. So, this stuff right here, there's a couple different ways of attaching it together. Separate from copper, you don't have to melt it or solder or anything like that with flux. This stuff, all you need is either these little rings. What you'll do is you'll take this ring, and this is a half inch is usually what you use here, and you'll insert it onto here, and that would be your fitting. So that would be how a pipe would fit, a PEX pipe would fit onto there. And with that, you use this is a crimper. You take this, which is spring activated, you pop that in, got a biter, and you bite on this little tab here. Push down all the way. You push down all the way until it clicks and snaps to the end. Really hard compression. Now that would be right on this nub here. You have to bite it right there, and the compression here would seal this onto there. You want to do it 1/8 of an inch up. So if it's all the way on, the plastic's on like that, you want 1/8 of an inch up, so right about there is where you would crimp it, if that's where you were going to go. Now your other option, as far as attaching PEXs, this would be a shark bite. This is a shark bite. Normally these plastic pieces that are inside of here are external, and you insert one of these plastic pieces into the end of your tube like that, and then you could conjoin 2 tubes in each end of this, and that would be a second way of attaching your PEX pipe. I'm going to be using a complex converter today, which involves 1/2 inch and I believe this is 3/4. So you're a 3/4, that's this one, 3/4 pipe, and 1/2 and 1/2, that's 1/2. So I'm going to be doing a complex move with that. Some of these are splitters, so you know you could split a line into 2 different directions, and with these you use the rings. So these are compression rings, and you have a lot of options here. These are cheaper than these. These are fast acting. You don't need one of these to do these. If you have a small job and you just need to get an attachment like that or like that, you're not going to need you're not going to need these puppies and the rings to do this. I'm speaking after the job now, and I went through a lot of that. Ran into some serious issues with the galvanized pipe being really difficult to find a joint that was loose enough. The corrosion was like really tough. It was really difficult to break. I tried using some PB blaster and whatever. It just came down to some brute force. Everything else was kind of fundamental. I did convert and use most of those items. I managed to clear the clog in the sink. The sink was clogged because debris kept coming out of the galvanized pipe and getting lodged into the faucet and stuff, and yeah, it was causing so many problems. This house is 20 times better, you know, after changing to PEX, and it's a really easy process. You know, if anybody has any questions, feel free to ask. You know, I hope this helped you in any way. You know, the shark bites are great if you don't have that tool. That tool is probably like 40 bucks, you know, but if you're gonna do a whole house, I would suggest getting one, because those rings and those fittings are much cheaper. The brass fittings are more expensive. Then they also have plastic ones that are PVC. I can imagine them not being as strong for long run situations, but they work as well. And that's just where you put two tubes together. And you could, the cool thing about it is you could have a shut-off line, a shut-off on the tube. So when you stick it onto the, let's say you had a copper pipe and it's leaking, if water is flowing through it, you could stick this shut-off onto the pipe and then fucking turn the shut-off. And there's no way you could do that with copper, because you have to smelt the flux. So if you have like a water coming out of a copper pipe, you can't cap it and like heat it, you know, and because it'll spray out. So that's really nifty about these shark bites, is if there's water flowing and you need to stop that, you could put the thing on, the sleeve on, and then pull the lever on the shut off, and then bam, shuts it right off. So some interesting concepts with the PEX that just are, you know, so much more well thought through, and it's definitely nice having new water lines. I don't know how bad the corrosion is on copper, but this galvanized pipe was just not good, just not good. It was a lot of work. I did it by myself. It took me a whole night. I was working overnight, and yeah, the reason I had to do this was because I had it was really cold one morning, and this galvanized pipe kept freezing, and it's like a thick piece of metal, and thawing that thing out is like really difficult. Like it's not like the PEX. The PEX, it's like, you know, you could blow warm breath on it and it would like thaw out. So, and it doesn't freeze. It really doesn't freeze, like exploding. When I first got into this property, actually, one copper line had froze and expanded so much I couldn't even get fittings onto it. It was a really strange situation. So, you know, with that being said, I hope you guys enjoy the video, and hopefully it helps somebody out, and I'm happy to be here for that. You know, if anybody's my family watching, you know, I'm thinking about you guys. Wish I could be there in your lives and stuff, and you know, but I am still thinking about you, and hope you guys are doing great as well as everybody. And enjoy the year. Let's go 2021.